Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are so pleased to have in the studio a longtime friend and colleague. Now she's working for the Starfall Education Foundation. Emily Moberly is the VP of Strategy and Impact. Good to see you, Emily.
It's good to see you too. I feel like I'm coming back home.
You are coming back home. We're honored to have
good.
you. And joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. Honored to have her for 1 year now. We need to have some type of anniversary celebration. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, me pleasure. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary in Liberty Station. Got a big shindig going on October 10. More details to come on that as well. And Kristen, why don't you get started with Emily?
Yeah, let's just talk about the mission of Starfall to start us off.
Well, Starfall has been around for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. Starfall is a place where children have fun learning. Mm-hmm. It's simple enough that even my 6-year-old can recite that when people ask where mom works. And then the bigger picture is, we're trying to create educational resources that make learning fun and help kids improve their skills, but also build agency and confidence.
So is it a place people go to?
Great question.
Do you go to it? You go to the school to do it? Do you go to the YMCA to do it?
You can go anywhere and do it, really, because most of our resources are digital. So we're most known for starfall.com and the Starfall apps. That's where you will find our games, our activities, our songs that are designed to help kids have fun building skills in literacy, math, social emotional learning. So that's geared toward kids. And a lot of kids use it in their kindergarten or first grade classroom. But we also have a parent-teacher center website, which has a ton of resources for caregivers or teachers. It's all 100% free. But let's say you have a kid in a class or in your home who is struggling with the short E sound. You could literally search that on our parent-teacher center and find a bunch of ready-made worksheets, customizable worksheets, journals, songs, projectables, if anyone uses a projector anymore. Mm-hmm. Just lots of stuff that you could use to really target a specific skill.
No, that's great. Talk about the 4-part Learn to Read series. What's that all about?
Yeah, so Starfall started because our founder, as a kid, struggled with reading. And when he became an adult, he wanted to create a resource that would help kids like him. And so Starfall started with a focus on helping kids learn how to read and doing that in a way that's fun. And if you know my background, you know that I'm so passionate about reading 100%. And empowering kids through literacy. So this is always a part of Starfall that I love to talk about. This is a resource. It has 4 sections. It's on our app. It's on our website. It can be downloaded as its own individual app. They're called the ABCs, Learn to Read, It's Fun to Read, and I'm Reading. And it's designed basically to walk a young person from identifying the sounds and letters all the way up through reading confidently on their own. So it focuses on phonics of those, reading those short and long vowels, blending, chunking, and it kind of walks the child through those steps incrementally, but in a way that's open for exploration as well.
Right. Is there an age group it's geared to?
I would say it's geared toward like 3 to 7 or 8, but the research shows, that a lot of children struggle with reading and 100%. Are behind in reading. And so anyone who struggles with reading could benefit from this. My mom teaches English to adults, and she references Starfall sometimes with her adult students. And they complain that it's a little bit childish, but the concepts are the same. The phonics,
sure,
those skills that you need. Because I think for some people, learning how to read just comes naturally, but for most of us, it doesn't. And the resources that Starfall creates helps walk through those steps and those skills that are needed to go from an emerging reader to a confident one.
Right. Kristen is certainly fully aware of this. big advocate with her soon-to-be 6-year-old in reading and giving all the great experiences based on the world Kristen has been living in, for many years, whether it's art, performing, writing plays, and of course now writing and all that aspect of it. One of our frequent guests is Jose Cruz, and Jose is the CEO of the San Diego Council on Literacy, and you know him as well. You know my passion about reading 1 billion years ago. I was the president of the Greater San Diego Reading Association.
I didn't know that.
Did you know that? Yeah.
That's cool.
Right. And I think one of the things you take for granted that if you can read, that everyone can read. And of course, there's 500,000 folks who are functionally illiterate in San Diego County, pretty much the norm for an urban area in this. And it shocks people in this because for those people who can't read, Emily knows this so well because of traveling stories and all your previous life. You can't take it for granted. And, and imagine, when you open up a world, and I'm not sure if you've heard him say this at all, Kristen, Charles Parisi, my business partner, the CEO and founder of Cloudcast, huge STEM guy, but he's even a huger, if that's a word, bigger literacy guy. And
I know. We had like a 50-minute conversation with Reading Legacies while you were on break. So yes, I got all his reading background.
Yeah, and what Kristen's referring to, and I'm not sure if you know her at all, would be a good person for you to connect
I love Reading
Betty.
Legacies.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know Betty.
She's a legend in the literacy world here.
Well, I was honored to be a charter member when she founded the Family Literacy Foundation in the 80s. Again, once more finding information about me because I'm 107 years old.
Stop it. You're seasoned.
But, talk about that. I think it's really important. And I definitely want you to weigh in on this too, Kristen. You just can't take for granted.
No.
And because sometimes the 3-year-old's not going to tell you they're struggling with stuff, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So how do you identify this stuff?
Well, I think a lot of it comes from partnering with your child's teacher, or if you're their educator, for the homeschool parents, or but it's hard. I think it was so easy for me to have opinions about that before I had my own children. And now that I do, it's sometimes you're so exhausted. It's really hard to sit and read with your kid at the end of the day or on the weekend, and especially if it's not something that they're naturally gravitating toward.
Right.
But I think spending that time with them doing literacy-related activities, and that's why Starfall, in my opinion, is such a valuable resource because it makes this content more engaging and easier to approach with less shame. There's no testing involved. There's only positive reinforcement. So it's really something that a child, like my kid came home from school and said, "Mom, we need to get Starfall. It's so fun." And I was like, what is Starfall, Right,
exactly.
And so, that didn't happen with anything else. So for us, that was the window in. And so then she was able to play on her own, but then I could also sit alongside her. I felt comfortable. It was positive screen time. There's no ads. There's no user information. So for us, that was like a building block. And now we're able to read decodable books, me and my 6-year-old, a little bit together. We're building that slowly but surely. But I think taking the shame out and finding some time, some way to practice is going to give a lot of insight into what a child might be struggling with, where they're at. And I would also say, watch out, because kids are really good at memorizing. Mm-hmm. My kid has favorite books that she memorizes. And so if I didn't pay attention, I would be like, she's doing fine. Yeah. But it's when I introduced a new book or a new activity, I could see like, oh, she needs a little help with the long vowels.
And you memorize a passage, but you know what that passage means.
Yeah.
And they ask them, oh, you got it, right? What does that word mean? What word? The one you just read on this. Declan, a good reader?
He doesn't read yet. He loves books. So he's at the point where he's, sounding out letters. But to your point, even someone who's been a writer her entire professional life, I'm like, okay, so we're working on sounding out the letters. Where do I go from here?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm like, do I start adding them together? Is there I'm trying to reach into my phonics brain. So something like that is ideal. Because even, parents that feel like they're somewhat educated, what is the best
Just
approach?
Because you're educated and a great reader doesn't mean you know how to teach someone how to read. Right. And that's another, granted, I work for Starfall, so obviously I'm going to talk about them, but our Learn to Read series walks you through step by step. And for each skill that they help you learn, there's an activity that a kid can do. There are books that kids can read or be read aloud to them. There's videos that they can watch, and it all kind of builds on each of those skills. So it really tries to take some of that guessing work out. And I highly recommend, like, I can't believe I didn't find Starfall sooner. And I'm trying to use it as much as possible and to spread the word because of my past work experience, I know a lot of people who care about literacy.
Right.
And this is just, I mean, the thing that's crazy too is this Learn to Read series is free. And that's really the heart of our founder. We have other content that's available that costs a membership fee, but that's $35 for the whole year.
Right.
So even that's like kind of crazy. It's not very expensive, but
it's half a Starbucks a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're chatting with Emily Moberly. She is the VP of Strategy and Impact for Starfall Education Foundation. A longtime friend and colleague of mine, I'm happy to say. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by the fine folks of Mission Fed Credit Union for more than 60 years, doing great things in San Diego County, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel, the Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc., celebrating their 20th anniversary in Liberty Station. Kristen?
Yeah. Have you been seeing a lot of like uptick since COVID, with people really seeking out these services?
Yes, absolutely. And I've joined Starfall just a few months ago, but in digging through their, records, we definitely saw a surge in users during COVID and beyond. And I think that's opened the door too. I think schools in general are a little more comfortable with using digital learning resources. Mm-hmm. It's become more of the norm, as well as families, Starfall was one of the first digital learning platforms to come, into the industry. Mm-hmm. Now there's many more. But absolutely, I think there's, my hope is that it shed light on an issue that already existed before COVID. Kids have struggled with reading for a long time. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure why we haven't fixed it yet. It's such a critical, it impacts all of us. When kids can read, they have so much more opportunity. So I'm hoping to see more collaboration in general and to be able, for organizations like Starfall to be able to support caregivers and educators because they have such a tough job. How can we empower them?
And we'll talk about this when we come back from break. But what I'm going to say here, because you've been on the show a bunch of times, and I say this, not trying to disparage any of these wonderful organizations, and there are, but juvenile diabetes and things that affect kids from a health standpoint that are life-threatening, those get a lot more attention. And it's not that they're not important. They're very, very important. We all know that. However, in this digital world, in this world that, communication is exponentially growing by every nanosecond, right? You can't read, the gap is just going to absolutely get so big so fast. And then you're going to be left at the starting gate. So I want to talk a little bit about that when we come back as well. Some of the other programs that you do in this area. And as always, what can our listeners do to support your efforts when we return with Emily Moberly, VP of Strategy and Impact for Starfall Education Foundation. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 60 years, doing some wonderful things in all different areas in San Diego County. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, broadcasting in these very cool Mission Fed studios in Scripps Ranch. Joined by my co-host, Kristen Vogel, Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc. And with us today is Emily Moberly, longtime friend and colleague of mine. She's now the VP of Strategy and Impact for Starfall Foundation, Education Foundation, talking about just many cool things they have for parents, for caregivers, for teachers, and most importantly, for those young readers. Kristen.
Yeah. I wonder if you get to hear from clients, from parents, from schools, and what are some of the things that you hear that kind of keep you doing
That's
it?
probably one of the best parts about working for Starfall. And you know what's crazy is our app has been downloaded 65 million times, and we have like over 500 million visitors to starfall.com every month. So it's insane the number of families and children that Starfall is serving. And because of that, we do hear from many of them. We get feedback, we get ideas, we get complaints, which helps us get better.
Right.
And we get a lot of feedback. And just even in this local San Diego community, I was talking to my daughter's kindergarten teacher, and she was like, I used Starfall when I was a kid. Now I'm using it with my, my classroom.
Yeah.
We hear stories from homeschool parents who use Starfall as part of their curriculum. We hear parents of children of special needs saying, hey, this has been the one breakthrough tool that has helped my kid advance their skills. We've heard from families and teachers across the world. It's really, really neat. And I especially love it when people share their ideas of how we can make it better, because to me, that makes me feel like this is not just Starfall doing this thing for everyone else, but it's this collective, empowering effort to help kids everywhere.
And they're invested. They care about it. They want to see it be better.
Yes.
I'm really curious with the schools and everything. What does the reach kind of look like in that realm? Yeah.
I mean, schools are our biggest client.
Okay.
We offer different membership levels. One is a school level where I think it's like $370 for the year. And you can literally have a Starfall membership and access for every classroom, every student.
And then it goes incredibly affordable.
It's
like all of these
affordable.
Price
yes.
points.
If you're listening and you're interested, reach out to us. Yeah. It is a no-brainer. And then it goes down to teacher and class. And those are less expensive. And I would say we're most popular in kinder and first, but over the last maybe 5 or 10 years, we've begun expanding beyond. Well, we've been expanding beyond reading for a long time. So we have a lot of math resources, but we also now have resources for 4th and 5th grade. So if you start using Starfall in your school with your kindergartners, we have material that's engaging and safe that they feel comfortable with, that they can use all the way up through the end of 5th grade.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then there's nothing that is more endearing to a parent than watching their kid who's a struggling or reluctant reader, all of a sudden the lights come off.
Yes.
And whoa, when did that happen? And overnight they're just reading like demons. And I've seen it a million times because of my background in this area. And it changes everything, not just for that student, but for the parent and from everybody. Talk about the confidence level of kids who now feel comfortable reading where before they would look at a book as kryptonite, for God's sake.
Yeah, and I think something to remember is every kid's timing is different.
100%.
And if you're listening and your kids hasn't clicked for them yet, don't be discouraged.
Exactly.
My oldest is 10 now, and it's kind of funny because I've been in literacy for the last 14, 15 years, and she would tell everyone that she hates reading. So she's in 4th grade now, and she's finally clicking. She's finding those books she likes, but the big piece is the confidence.
Right.
Because now it's not a struggle every time she has to read through a page. Now she's starting to be able to enjoy it. And because her skill level and her confidence level and the content that's available are all matching up and syncing, don't tell her I'm noticing, but she's becoming a real reader, and it's so exciting. It's making things so different in our home.
100%.
The confidence is huge. I mean, it comes down even with my younger one. She's just starting to read, but as she gets excited, she's noticing street signs and whatever. She just wants to read everything, and it just equips somebody to be so much more. To just the agency.
Well, and I'm not sure when you started to really enjoy reading.
Pretty early, yeah.
Mine was I took off at age 8, because my beloved Dodgers, I started going to the Dodger games, okay? And that was before there was running water in L.A. But the bottom line is I read the sports section. I mean, I could not get enough of reading about how the Dodgers were doing. And I mean, I was almost like would beat my parents out to get the paper, and that's all I read. And of course, you read every single sports book, you read X, Y, and Z, and that's all you read. I said, "Are you kidding me?" That's gotten to be a reader, and I don't care if it's reading Mad Magazine or it's reading whatever the case may be.
The back of a cereal box
Doesn't matter.
That's popular in our house.
Just read in this area. So, and I love the fact that it's so affordable, and much of it is free as well. Do you reach out? How many? Were there 7 billion languages spoken in San Diego County, right?
Yeah.
Hmong, Lao, you name it, Vietnamese and stuff, Cambodians, Somalia and all that business, Tagalog. Is yours translated?
That's a good question. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah.
I know it's translated maybe in some languages, but I will say I know that there are a lot of communities that use Starfall when they're learning English. And I think we also have like a separate resource that focuses even on people that are preparing for becoming citizens and stuff like that.
Right. So offline, I'll chat with you about a group that I'm working with.
I would love that.
Works on reading. As Kristen knows, I've had a curriculum business for 18 years that focuses on reading media, newspapers, and it goes as low as 3rd grade and so forth. And it can be translated into 200 languages.
Wow. Yeah, let's chat about that.
Exactly. But getting back to you, Kristen, because you're heavily involved in Declan's school and stuff, is that something you might introduce to the school, Starfall?
Potentially. I don't, I've been between schools for a while now, so we'll just see it.
Kristen's job is to change a school once
it's very
week.
stressful. It's, so yeah, we'll see. And it, may already be there. Who knows?
Yeah. You don't know on this. What can we do to support your efforts?
Getting the word out right now, I'm really pushing just expressing our free Learn to Read resources.
Right.
One thing I'm trying to put together is sort of a how to use those resources, and then a little, I don't want to say presentation, but essentially a presentation. So if there's an organization or a preschool or a school that is like, hey, we want our parents to feel more confident encouraging reading at home, and we don't know what to recommend, we don't know how to, please reach out to me, please reach out to Starfall. I would love to connect with you and provide this resource and a little bit of training so that more people feel equipped and prepared.
So what's the website?
It's starfall.com.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'd love to do, and you know what I'm going to say here, is that if you've got a family that has benefited from Starfall, and so here has been you're even more than welcome to bring your 4th grader in, okay? Yeah. But and we've had some guests that have brought their kids in for some things. But if you have a family that has benefited from this and want to have them come in and say, this is what it's done, this is what
that would be awesome.
Consider that done.
Okay.
I don't want to break any privacy laws and all that business, but those are the ones that parents want to hear from.
Yeah.
And say, well, I'm not sure if it's going to work with my kid. It may work with Emily's kid.
I know.
She's an expert in literacy. No, it can work with anybody. Kristen, any final comments?
No, just I'm excited to learn more about this. So thanks for bringing this to my attention.
One last thing I'll just share really quickly.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Okay. You be careful what you say. There's a lot we could talk about, but we are always developing new content. And so one of the things that Starfall does look for are testers. And those are children who would play our new games before they go public and give us feedback. We want their,
Interesting.
Yeah. So we want to know how to make it better. So if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to Starfall.
What age group were you looking for?
Honestly, I would say anywhere, probably between like pre-K, so like 4 or 5 years old, up until like 4th, 5th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention to my daughter. My daughter teaches at Chaparral Elementary in the Poway School District, and see if they use Starfall.
Yeah, ask if you have kids in school, ask if they're using Starfall. If they want more info, reach out to me. And my email is probably somewhere visible, but it's emoberly@starfall.com.
Right.
And I'll leave a note to our other team members in case you reach out to them somewhere else, so they'll direct you to me.
No, that'd be great.
But I've only heard about Starfall for a little bit, and it's already making a difference in my family.
Yeah.
And in so many other families, and I just hope more people can use it
Well, we'll see what we can do over here. Emily, it's always good seeing you. Your enthusiasm is infectious. Really appreciate it in a good way.
Good.
And we'll look forward to having you back on, maybe with a family that has
that
benefited
sounds fun.
from this as well. Wishing you nothing but great success. Emily Moberly, VP of Strategy and Impact for Starfall Education Foundation. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest running community podcast. We're now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things for people living in San Diego County. Thank you so much, Kristen Fogel, again, celebrating her pretty close to 1-year anniversary as my co-host. She's been doing a spectacular job. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.